Hello and good morning and welcome to Story Time with Miss Sneetcher. I am Miss Sneetcher, your substitute teacher, and I am so happy to see all you Sneetcheroos this morning. Welcome to April 1st. Now, I don't want any of you little pranksters pulling a bunch of April Fool's pranks today. I know how you get. All right, now before we start any story, who can tell me what we do? Clara? What do I always do with my hands? That's right. We get the hand sanitizer out and we get rid of all the germs. Because I don't have a sink right here in the reading center, I use my hand sanitizer. But when I'm in my house, I always use warm soap and lots of sudsy warm water as well, okay? You put that soap under the warm water, get it sudsy, and put it on those hands. Good 20 minutes. All right, or 20 seconds. 20 minutes would be great because you would totally be germ-free, but 20 seconds is the rule. Okay, here we go. What a rascal! You're right, I started to close it up. How are you doing today, Rascal? Yes, Rascal's doing very well. Rascal is keeping in great spirits despite this pandemic going around. He's keeping all germ-free, so he too will not get any flus or viruses. All right, now that I know I'm excited about today's story too, so shall we get to it, Rascal? All right, we have a fabulous story called Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. Now, some of my Sneetcheroos told me that when I put the picture book down here, they really couldn't see it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to read the pages, and then when I'm done with the page, show it to you, show you the picture, okay? And we'll see if that works a little better. So, let's do it here. Sylvester Duncan lived with his mother and father. I know, I'm starting. On Acorn Row in Oatsdale. One of his hobbies was collecting pebbles of unusual shapes and colors. All right, there's Sylvester right there. And there's his mom, and there's his dad. Okay? On a rainy Saturday during vacation, he found quite an extraordinary pebble. It was flaming red, shiny, and perfectly round. It looked like a marble. As he was studying this remarkable pebble, he began to shiver. Can we all shiver at home? Woo! Probably from the excitement, and the rain felt cold on his back. I wish it would stop raining, he said. Okay, there he is in the rain with his pebble. To his great surprise, the rain stopped. It didn't stop gradually like rain usually does. It just ceased. It just stopped. The drops vanished on the way down. The clouds disappeared. Everything was dry. And the sun was shining as if it had never rained at all. So there he is with his pebble. It was raining. He wished that it would stop. And boom, now it's all sunny out. Everybody see? Yes, Abby and Finn, do you see? Okay, good. Here we go. In all his young life, Sylvester had never had a wish gratified so quickly. It struck him that magic must be at work, and he guessed that the magic must be in that remarkable-looking red pebble, where indeed it was. To make a test, he put the pebble on the ground and said, "I wish it would rain again." Nothing happened. But when he said the same thing holding the pebble in his hoof, the sky turned black, there was lightning, a clap of thunder, and the rain came shooting down. So there he is. And see, the trick is holding his little pebble in his little hoof. What a lucky day this is, thought Sylvester. From now on, I can have anything I want. My mother and father can have anything they want. My relatives and friends can have anything they want. He wished for the sun to shine back in the sky. And he wished a wart on his left hind foot would disappear. And it did. And he started home eager and amazed. He wanted to amaze his father and mother with his magic pebble. He could hardly wait to see their faces. Maybe they would even believe him at first. So there he is. There he is looking at his pebble, thinking what a lucky, lucky little donkey he is. And there he is walking home to see Mom and Dad. As he crossed Strawberry Hill, thinking of some of the many, many things he could wish for, he was startled to see a mean and hungry lion looking right at him from behind some tall grass. He was frightened. Ooh, I would be frightened too. He hadn't been so frightened, he could have made the lion disappear, or he could have wished him safe at home with his father and mother. See, there he is. There's a lion. There he is, and he is so frightened he doesn't know what to do. He is not thinking clearly. He could have wished that lion would turn into a butterfly or a daisy. He could have wished many, many things, but he panicked and didn't think carefully. I wish I were a rock, he said, and he became a rock. The lion came bounding over and sniffed the rock 100 times. He walked around it and around it, and then just walked away, confused, perplexed, puzzled, and bewildered. I saw that little donkey as clear as day. Maybe I'm going crazy, he muttered. Here he is. So, the donkey wishes, Sylvester wishes that he turned into a rock, and there he is. That's Sylvester. He is now a rock. And that is our confused lion walking around. Okay, everybody see the pictures? Yes? Keegan and Sloan, can you see those? All right. And there was Sylvester, a rock on Strawberry Hill, with the magic pebble lying right beside him on the ground. He was unable to pick it up. Oh, how I wish I were myself again, he thought. But nothing happened. He had been touching the pebble to make the magic work, but there was nothing he could do about it. His thoughts began to race like mad. He was scared and worried, but helpless, he felt hopeless. He imagined all the possibilities, and eventually he realized that his only chance of becoming himself again was for someone to find the red pebble and to wish the rock next to them would become a donkey. Someone surely would find the red pebble. It was so bright and shiny. But what on earth would make them wish the rock were a donkey? The chance was 1 in a billion at best. Sylvester fell asleep. What else could he do? Night came with many, many stars. So there he is. That's Sylvester, remember, he's the rock. And he's on Strawberry Hill. And the pebble is next to him over there, but he can't put it in his hoof to make the magic happen. Meanwhile, back at home, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan, that's his mom and dad, paced the floor, frantic with worry. Sylvester had never come home later than dinner time. Where could he be? They stayed up all night wondering what happened, expecting that Sylvester would surely turn up by morning. But he didn't. Of course, Mrs. Duncan cried a lot, and Mr. Duncan did his best to soothe her. Both longed to have their son back home with them. I will never scold Sylvester again as long as I live, said Mrs. Duncan, no matter what he does. There they are, up at night, so worried. That's why we always must be home on time, or if we're going to be late, we must have someone tell our mom and dad where we are. There we go. At dawn, they went about inquiring with all their neighbors. So here's mom and dad, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan, and they're asking Miss Pig, and they're asking the neighborhood chickens. They're asking everybody if they've seen Sylvester. Okay? Josie and Stella, can you see those pictures? Yes, all right. They talked to all the children and the puppies, the kittens, the colts, the piglets. No one had seen Sylvester since the day before. They went to the police. The police could not find their child either. There they are. There's all the little puppies and piglets and colts. This fellow's playing jump rope. And there's Mr. and Mrs. Duncan asking, have you seen our boy? And then they went to the police station to find out if they've seen him. All right, Jacob Miller, how are we coming along? Pictures? You can see them all? Let me hear a big yes. All right. How's Ezra doing this morning? Fine? All right, just checking. All the dogs in Oatsdale were searching for him. They sniffed behind every rock and tree and blade of grass. onto every nook and gully of the neighborhood and beyond, but they found not a scent of him. They sniffed the rock on Strawberry Hill, but it smelled like a rock. It didn't smell like Sylvester. Here's all the pups out, sniffing around. Jackson and Carter. Is there a pup there that looks like Daisy? I think that one does. All right. After a month of searching the same places over and over and over again and inquiring of the same animals over and over and over again, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan no longer knew what to do. They concluded that something dreadful must have happened and they would probably never see their son again, though all the time he was less than a mile away up on Strawberry Hill. They tried their best to be happy, to go about their lives, but their usual ways always included Sylvester, and they were always reminded of him. They were just sad and miserable. Life had no meaning for them anymore, just like your moms and dads would be very sad and miserable without you. Here we go. There's Mom crying, she's missing her boy, and there's Dad, just sad and miserable, but they don't know he's right up on the hill. Night followed day, and day followed night, over and over again. Sylvester on the hill woke up less and less often. When he was awake, he was only hopeless and very unhappy. He felt he would be a rock forever, and he tried to get used to it. He went into an endless sleep. The days grew colder. Fall came, and the leaves changed colors. The leaves fell, and the grass bent to the ground. Ooh, that means it's getting chilly out. Just like it was chilly here in Florida this morning when we got up. But Sylvester is so sad. Lachlan, can you imagine being a rock? I can't. All right. Then it was winter. The winds blew this way and that. It snowed. Mostly the animals stayed indoors, living on the food they had stored up. One day, a wolf sat on the rock. There was Sylvester, and howled because he was hungry. Can we all howl like a wolf? Ow! There he is. Let me hear you howl. Ow! Very good. Abram, Kayla, Ashley, I know you were supposed to be in Jackson Hole a couple weeks ago, and this is what it looks like there. All right, Miss Sneetcher is very familiar with Jackson Hole. Then the snow melted, and the earth warmed up in the spring sun, and everything had budded. Leaves were on the trees again. Flowers showed their young faces. Right there. It's very, very pretty now. Look, it's springtime, like it is right here in Florida. One day in May, Mr. Duncan insisted that his wife go with him on a picnic. Let's cheer up, he said. Let us try to live again and be happy again, even though our angel Sylvester is no longer with us. So they went up to Strawberry Hill. There they go, up to Strawberry Hill for a very nice picnic. Hey, how many of you out there like picnics? Quinn, do you like a picnic? You and Rosie go on picnics a lot? Yes, well, Sylvester's mom and dad like them too. Mrs. Duncan sat down on the rock. The warmth of his own mother sitting on him woke Sylvester up from the deep, deep winter sleep. How he wanted to shout, "Mother, Father, it's me, Sylvester. I'm right here." But he couldn't talk. He had no voice. He was a stone. There's Mom sitting right on him. Dad setting up the umbrella so she won't get a sunburn. Mr. Duncan walked aimlessly about while Mrs. Duncan sat out the picnic food on the rock. Alfalfa sandwiches, pickled oats, sassafras salad, Timothy compote. Suddenly, Mr. Duncan saw the red pebble. "What a fantastic pebble," he exclaimed. "Sylvester would have loved this for his collection." And he picked up the pebble and he put it on the rock. Look, they're picnicking right on Sylvester. That's pretty silly, isn't it? All right. They sat down to eat. Sylvester was now wide awake as a donkey that was a rock could possibly be. Mrs. Duncan felt something mysterious, some excitement. "You know, Father," she said suddenly, "I have the strangest feeling that our dear Sylvester is still alive and not very far away. I am, Sylvester wanted to shout, but he couldn't. If only he had realized that the pebble resting on his back was the magic pebble. There they are, having their picnic. Oh, how I wish he were here with us on this lovely May day, said Mrs. Duncan. Mr. Duncan looked sadly at the ground. Don't you wish that too, Father? She asked. He looked at her as if to say, how can you ask such a question? Of course I do. Mr. and Mrs. Duncan looked at each other with great sorrow. I wish I were myself again. I wish I were my real self again, thought Sylvester. And in less than an instant, what do you think happened, guys? He was! Look, there he is, and all the food's on his back is going to fall off. That's some silliness. You can imagine the scene that followed. The embraces, the hugs, the kisses, the questions, the answers, the loving looks, and all the fond exclamations. There they are, hugging their boy. Oh, hey, we have a visitor in Miss Sneetcher's Center. Say hi, Mr. Cow.
Hi, everybody.
Look.
You having fun reading?
Say, yes, we are. We're reading about Sylvester the donkey.
All right.
Hey, Mr. Cow's keeping the JCA nice and safe and clean for you and in great condition, so when our social isolation is over, you can all come back. Everyone, can you shout out, thank you, Mr. Cow? Come on, I want to hear you louder than that. Thank you, Mr. Cow.
You're
there.
very welcome.
All right, woohoo.
See you later. Bye-bye.
See you later. Stop in any time, Mr. Cow.
Okay, bye.
And our last page is when they had eventually calmed down a bit and had gotten home, Mr. Duncan put the magic pebble in an iron safe. Someday they might want to use it, but really, for now, what more could they wish for? They were all together again, so they had everything that they wanted. See, as Miss Sneetcher always says, family is most important. If you have your family with you, you have everything you need in life, right? That is our moral to the story. That, first of all, we must always tell our moms and dads and teachers where we're going and what we're doing. If Sylvester told his mom and dad that he was going to Strawberry Hill and told them about his magic pebble, they would have known where to look for him. So that's very important. And the next little piece of the story is how much our moms and dads love us. All right, your mom and dad loves you and only wants the best for you. And the third is we have family, we have everything we need. So I want you all to hug your brothers and sisters as soon as we get done. All right, will you do that for me? And I want you to have your mom take a picture of you hugging your sibling and post it on our Facebook page, okay? All right, now, let's see who Miss Sneetcher sees out in Magic Land today. Who is watching us? Ooh, I see Bree and Simon. I see Clara and Martin, they never miss. Hi, Jacob Miller, another one that's always with us. I see Andrew, we're so happy that you're here. I want you to hug those twins. Callie and Lexi, Abram, Kayla and Ashlyn. All right, Abram, you get to hug your twins too. Haley and Eva, Jackson and Carter. Hello, Miss Sneetcher loves you. Johan and Zara, how are you doing? Judah, Josie and Stella. Hello, Quinn. Hello, Keegan. Hello, Sloan. Hello, Henry. Hi, Desi. Hello, Nolan. How are you today? Westlyn, Sydney, and Chambers. I want a whole big Brave Sisters hug. Sophie and Charlie, how are you? Zoe and Riley said you had a big time with them yesterday. James, let's see a picture of you hugging little Jacob Alexander. Hello, Sydney. Hello, Abby. Hello, Finn. Hello, Josie. Hello, Andy. Hello, Riley. Hello, Stella. Hello, Artemis and Mallory. Oh, and hello, Cousin Mona. Hello, Lachlan. How are you? Hello, Emmett and Grayson. Ooh, Juliet and Savannah. Hello, Tristan. And Ike and Ellie. I want a big picture of you two giving each other a big hug. All right? Okay. Now, more Karen is usually with us too. So hello, more Karen. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. But for right now, Miss Sneetcher is going to say, toodaloo, kangaroo.